Massive supervolcano just cracked open the Earth. Supervolcanoes are like the supervillains of the geological world, as stories of their looming threat grow ever more exaggerated. Though massive eruptions do pose real dangers, misconceptions about them abound. Now, the massive supervolcano just cracked open the Earth. Here's the question now: are we actually safe? Are these flying rumors actually true? Well, let's find out from this video. Watch to the end to get your questions all answered, and don't forget to like and subscribe. A crack was found close to Yellowstone. You won't believe what happened next. The Yellowstone supervolcano may be set to explode, according to another story in a particularly hysterical tabloid. What is the origin of this newest sign of the impending non-apocalypse? Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming, which is next to Yellowstone National Park, has developed a small fracture. So we're all going to pass away, right? Obviously not. It is not even in the proper national park, and this is literally just a crack. The 30-meter, approximately 100-foot fissure, according to a statement from park officials, emerged in a portion of a big rock protruding from a cliff. For the protection of the populace, it led to a local shutdown. That's all there is to it, although some media sites have connected this to the volcanic rapture. We're okay, but don't just take my word for it. Here's what CONCORD University volcanologist Dr. Janine Kipner had to say about ridiculous volcanological rumors. If Yellowstone erupted every time a tabloid claimed it was going to, it would be one of the most active volcanoes on Earth. However, Yellowstone is one of the volcanoes that is monitored on Earth the most. There would be considerably more than just a crack if it were going to explode. However, there's still more. The United States Geological Survey (USGS) estimates that the likelihood of a super eruption in Yellowstone occurring in any given year is around 1 in 730,000. The strong eruption of more than 1,000 cubic kilometers (240 cubic miles) of new volcano material is what is known as a super eruption. In the last 2.1 million years, it has occurred twice in Yellowstone, with a third still colossal event coming close to missing the volumetric cut. Sure, if it happened today, that would be horrible, more on that here, but it's very unlikely that it would. Not even a nuclear weapon could set it off. Yellowstone has seen large-scale lava flows, and more often, hydrothermal explosions during the majority of its existence. This kind of eruption, not a supervolcanic eruption, is far more likely to occur in the future. Although Yellowstone is a supervolcano, just because it erupted violently once or twice doesn't indicate it will do so again. In fact, it currently cannot. For a magma reservoir to cause an eruption, it must be around 50% molten. The magma reservoirs in Yellowstone are now just 15% molten. No end of the world for you folks then. You have roughly the same chance of dying from eruption as you have from that fictitious supervolcano that Fox News allegedly found in Vermont. An active volcanic center is Yellowstone. You should sometimes prepare for things like earthquakes, swarms, and ground movement. There is a powerful heat source underneath, which is why there are so many beautiful geothermal features scattered around the national park, features that may be lethal if you're careless. However, a fracture is no way implying that an eruption is about to occur. Unfortunately, the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory receives a significant increase of emails from concerned citizens whenever a new rumor circulates. So for something so unimportant, I won't even bother winging them a statement myself. It is important to emphasize that Yellowstone has a far lower danger of eruption than you may realize. The USGS is investigating, and they would alert the public right away if a true problem existed. What is the Yellowstone supervolcano's actual situation? Rock climbing is popular at Hidden Falls, where fractures may be seen in some of the boulders. Park authorities had to shut down the area after many climbers discovered a 100-foot-long fissure in the outcrop wall of Hidden Falls because they were worried about the stability of the rock face. The Yellowstone supervolcano has a reputation for being quite destructive, and I'm not here to downplay that reputation. The next eruption of Yellowstone has the potential to release 240 cubic miles of lava, usher in a decade-long volcanic winter, and form a crater spanning several states. So yeah, this is a big volcano, and everyone hopes it never erupts. But it's crucial to consider likelihood when considering these catastrophic natural catastrophes that have the potential to change the planet. What is the likelihood that Yellowstone supervolcano will erupt this year and every year after that? 730,000 to 1 or 0.00014%. In actuality, the last cataclysmic eruption in Yellowstone occurred 640,000 years ago. There are thankfully no signs of an eruption at the Yellowstone supervolcano, one of the most closely watched volcanoes in the world. On top of that, the next eruption on Yellowstone is probably going to be predicted for weeks, months, or even years in advance. Humans often choose to concentrate on irrational worries that are beyond their control than real hazards that are within their control. Let's compare the likelihood that you will die in a vehicle accident or from an eruption of the Yellowstone supervolcano over the course of your lifetime. Based on data from the United States in 2014, the statistics on auto accidents and based on annual risk, extrapolated out to 78.74-year average US lifespan, the lifetime risk of an eruption of the Yellowstone supervolcano. Another volcano with a massive eruption that broke another impressive record. The historical eruption of an undersea volcano is a tale that just keeps getting crazier. Scientists were astounded when the Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai storm in the South Pacific in January 2022 blasted pressure waves over the whole world. Researchers discovered a few months later that the explosion released a record-breaking 58,000 swimming pools worth of water into the sky. Volcanologists have already established that the explosion's ash and water plume rose nearly 35 kilometers into the air. The highest ever recorded value is that. According to Simon Proud, a research fellow at the National Centre of Earth Observation in the UK and the study's main author, it's an astonishing discovery since we have never observed a cloud of any form this tall before. This week the study was published in the journal Science. The troposphere, the lowest region of the atmosphere where humans live and experience weather, was readily traversed by the strong eruption. It reaches around 7.5 miles high. Then it even pushed past the 31-mile high stratosphere, a region that is typically clear and weather-free. In the end, the plume reached the mesosphere, where meteorites typically burn up. That's more than halfway to space, as Proud noted in a tweet. It's a remarkable outcome. The researchers analyzed photos from 3 separate weather satellites controlled by 3 different countries. The US's GOES-17, Japan's Himawari-8 and South Korea's GK-2A to determine the remarkable height of the Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai plume. The crew was able to determine the height of the volcanic cloud by calculating the height of the huge explosion from the images that were transmitted back every 10 minutes. However, these cutting-edge satellites weren't there during earlier, more powerful eruptions, such as the 1991 cataclysmic explosion from Mount Pinatubo. Scientists used decade-old observation techniques to discover that the plume reached a height of 25 miles. Although it wasn't even the 20th century's most explosive eruption, the mesosphere may have also been affected by additional explosions. Our research indicates that earlier eruptions like Pinatubo in 1991 that weren't observed by these sophisticated eyes in space probably went higher than we previously thought, Proud wrote online. This is because scientists weren't able to observe the volcano from various angles and didn't take enough images frequently enough. Where did all the volcanic energy come from in Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai? As a submarine volcano, the eruption takes place in an undersea basin, at approximately 500 feet below the surface, allowing the eruption to explode with a powerful blast of water into the sky. Although a spectacular display of nature, this eruption won't have a long-lasting effect on the climate. Although the brief increase in water vapor will not be enough to dramatically worsen climate change consequences, NASA said that water vapor is a powerful greenhouse gas that traps heat. There is no truth to the rumors that the Yellowstone supervolcano is experiencing a crack. Grand Teton National Park has had to close up a tiny section because of the 100-foot-long crack. However, despite what some businesses and websites are saying, Yellowstone National Park remains unaffected and has not declared a state of emergency. This is what Grand Teton National Park said in a statement. Due to a high risk of rockfall, the Hidden Falls and Inspiration Point areas are temporarily off limits. After widening fissures in a granite buttress were discovered on July the 10th, the area was shut off to ensure the safety of people. The duration of the shutdown is still uncertain. Geologists have started an evaluation of the area's vulnerability and are watching the buttress for movement. Therefore, the route is closed while scientists inspect it to ensure that no boulders may fall on any unwary hikers. What they have so far discovered is only a rock fracture, most likely brought on by the typical uplift of the rocky Rockies and the freeze-thaw cycle in the mountains. The Park Service believes the crack hasn't moved since last autumn, since it hasn't since monitoring of the crack started. But many online news outlets that use the rock crack as clickbait have nothing to do with truth. The idea that the Grand Teton crack is connected to the Yellowstone supervolcano is unfounded, according to a geologist from the University of Utah which operates the seismic monitoring stations in Yellowstone. What about the supervolcano in Yellowstone? According to the United States Geological Survey, it's unlikely that the volcano would ever have another super eruption. I'm sure you followed this video from the very beginning to this point, so we'd like to know your thoughts about this massive supervolcano in the comment box below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, thank you, and see you in the next video.